Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope my Wi-Fi connection does not betray me today. I thought that I would come in really quick and answer some financial questions. I wanted to come in and say hello to everybody. Hello on Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. Also, the Black Financial Channel. I don't know if I mentioned to you guys on the Black Financial Channel every Monday. We're doing this new show called Life's a Pitch. And Life's a Pitch is basically a black business pitch competition where we are bringing in black-owned businesses and letting them pitch to the community in order to let people support them if they want to. And so today we had a lot of fun, and we're going to keep doing it. We tested it out to see if you guys would like it, and it was really awesome, and it did really well, and everybody was excited, and people went and supported the businesses. And so it was really, really cool. So actually, if you want to be alerted whenever we are looking for businesses that want to be pitched, just make sure you get on the email list. Just go to allblackeconomics.com. That's allblackeconomics.com. And the reason we created Life's a Pitch is because, one, we realize that there are a lot of great black businesses out here that could use some help pitching, right? Some of the pitches I see could use some work, right? We're first generation entrepreneurs. You know, a lot of us didn't have parents that were running businesses, so we don't know what the hell we're doing sometimes. So when people pitch, Lene Javette, who's the CEO of Upscale Noir, we just pretty much critique right then and there. So you can learn a lot from watching people pitch, stuff like that. But then what we do is everything's positive. We keep it 100% positive, no bashing anybody's businesses, no dogging anybody out. And so even if the business sucks, like even if the pitch is really bad, we encourage people to do a wealth mob on the business. The wealth mob is where you go and you make that business owner wealthy with either support or knowledge, right? Support, knowledge, or marketing. Those are three things you can do, where you can either go there and say, I love your product, I'd like to buy some, which is great, right? That's the ultimate seal of approval. Or you can go there and say, hey, you know what? I wasn't really feeling what you were doing, but here's some suggestions. Maybe you can offer this product, or maybe you can change your pitch this way, or do this with your business, right? We want to make them better. And then the third piece is you can actually take their link and share the link on your social media. Our distribution network is us. We are our own distribution. So we're asking people to participate. We're doing the show every Monday night at 8 p.m. on the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com, theblackfinancialchannel.com. If you have not subscribed, subscribe. I update content on that sucker every single day. I'm giving you stock market analysis. We give you all kinds of small business analysis. My brother Lawrence does a show there. We bring in black entrepreneurs. We bring in all kinds of black wealth builders who are doing amazing things. So it's kind of like a black version of CNBC, except better, because, blacker is better. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, all that stuff. We know that we do everything better than everybody else. Give me an amen in the chat if you agree and you understand where I'm coming from. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button right now. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button. And let me just mention to you guys really quick, and I'll mention it again at the end. There's the stock that I am really, really enthusiastic about this week, or really, really, how can I say? When I say enthusiastic, I mean I'm watching this sucker like a hawk. The company's called Workhorse. I've mentioned Workhorse to you guys in the chat before because I've been invested in Workhorse for a while. If you are an investor in Workhorse, raise your hand. Some of you guys had already seen the company before. Workhorse is a crazy company. They make these electric. Well, they own a company called Lordstown Motors, and they make these electric trucks. And the stock was trading as low as like $2 or $3 a share less than a year ago. Now it's up to almost $30 a share. So the growth has been astronomical. And I started buying in the stock maybe around $15 a share, largely because I was teaching in the options class. And in the stock options class, I was like, well, let's find some good stocks to write options on. And because I understand a little bit about option pricing theory, I said, okay, well, here's how we can put together a methodology to find the stocks that have the best option premiums, where you can actually write options and generate income off the stocks. Well, this company Workhorse just popped out. It's like, the options were, the ROI on selling the call options was really high. So I got into Workhorse that way. And Alicia and I decided to invest, and we started to dump money into it. And the company just kept going up and up and up. And I remember I would go running with Alicia. I'd say, oh, my God, I think we tripped on a gold mine. Look at this. The stock is 14, 15, 16, 18, 20, 21, 20, And so here's the thing. Here's what's interesting about Workhorse. Workhorse is now in a what I call a pregnant moment. The pregnant moment means that it's pregnant with something. Like you think about something that's pregnant, something's going to be born. You don't know if it's going to be a boy, a girl, a Martian, or a stillborn baby. You don't know what's going to happen. But right now, this week, as early as Tuesday, the U.S. Postal Service is going to announce how they're going to disseminate $8.1 billion, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's the number. An $8.1 billion contract to decide how they're going to build their next generation of vehicles. And they believe that Workhorse is in line to get at least a big chunk of that deal. If they get that deal, that stock goes from 29 to maybe 39, 49. I mean, it just takes off. If they don't get the deal, then it's, you're talking about losing a lot of money. So what I did, if you want to know what I did, I bought put options. Put options are a type of insurance that you can buy in case your stock drops. Put options are a way to protect your gains. I'm not a big believer in being greedy when it comes to investing. So a lot of times I'd rather have a bird in the hand than to aim for 10 birds in the bush. So I went ahead and put some money back in to buy some insurance to protect the investment. But what I'm really wondering, I'm really hoping, and I did buy some shares that are just sort of sitting there that I didn't sell options on or anything. And so I'm kind of hoping they get the contract. So this stock has really been on my mind. I've been reading about it like crazy, and it's actually getting a lot of political attention. Apparently, I guess, because I believe it's in Ohio, the company, and Ohio is a battleground state. So Trump, it was down there basically, he was down there basically like bragging about how great the company is and all the great things that they're doing. And so they're kind of in the middle of the public eye in a lot of different ways. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens with Workhorse. So Workhorse is on my mind. I'm not telling you to invest in it. This is not investing advice. This is just me thinking out loud and analyzing out loud so that maybe you can gain something from the analysis. I don't know. Now, people always ask me like, what's going on? I'm noticing I'm getting fewer comments about the teeth or the weird way I'm talking. That must mean I'm becoming a normal person again. In case you want to know, let me repeat the story. I am a black man who did not do what he was supposed to do when it came to taking care of my dental health. I decided I wanted to make that change. So I dove in like Michael Jackson and I said, I'm going to make a change. And I dove in and they sat me in the chair for 14 hours. They were drilling and pulling and yanking and twisting and all that stuff. And so now what's happening, the reason that I look a little bit weird is because not only am I going to have a smile like Denzel Washington in about 4 months, I promise you that, I'm going to be looking fly. But then two, they have to open up my bite. They literally have to, like my bone has to be stretched because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So literally every day, the reason I sound a little bit different is because I'm getting used to talking in a different way and used to putting my tongue in the right place when I talk. I felt like that. So that's why I sound funny and I'm halfway fucking embarrassed about it. I ain't gonna lie, but you know what? Who cares? It ain't like I'm perfect anyway. I ain't shit. So who cares if I'm embarrassed or not? It doesn't even matter. So do me a favor if you could. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Also, don't forget this week on the 15th, Dr. Claude Anderson and I are going to start our Powernomics Masterclass. It's going to be really amazing. There's a money-back guarantee if you're not happy for any reason, just so you know. So if you're not happy, just don't think we're not going to take your money and then bounce. If you're not happy, you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. We have a whole entire support team that is there to make 100% sure that you are completely happy no matter what it takes. And then number two, we also have enrollment specialists in the Black Business School that can talk to you about your family, what your goals are. Like you can say, I really want my kids to learn about the stock market. What do I do? They can help you with that. Or I'm a senior citizen. I'm trying to figure out what to do for retirement. They can help you with that. Or I'm a young black man who wants to quit my job tomorrow or in 6 weeks. They can help you with that, right? So feel free to go and take a look. If you want to sign up for the masterclass, you can go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. And if you want to get 30% off, you can actually use the code word podcast. Use the code word podcast at powernomicsmasterclass.com. I personally believe that Powernomics should be taught in every HBCU in America. I think it's a shame that we have universities that claim to represent black people when unfortunately many of them are just teaching black people how to go work for white people. That is not the key to empowerment. In fact, I put together something that I'm going to actually go into more detail with. I call it the SLICE model, but it's two S's, SSLICE, the SLICE model, where black people can get a piece of the American pie. And basically the SLICE model breaks down all the reasons that the wealth gap exists. You see, the wealth gap for somebody like me who's a financial scientist who studies this stuff, It's as clear as day to me. It's as clear as day. The wealth gap is almost like understanding why a leaky bucket has no water in it. Right? If you know where the leak is and you know how much water is going in the bucket and how much water is leaking out of the bucket, then you can figure out exactly how to make that bucket better. You say, okay, first we got to increase the amount of water going into the bucket, and then we got to decrease the amount of water leaking out of the bucket. So Black people have a twofold problem when it comes to the wealth gap. Number one, not much is going into our bucket the way it's supposed to. And then two, our bucket has a big old hole in it, right? And in fact, the hole that the water is going out of is bigger than the hole that the water is coming into. So imagine a bucket with a hole where the water is coming in, that hole's like this big, but the hole where the water is going out is that big. Well, that's a negative bucket. That's bad. So what causes that negative bucket? Well, number one, you're taught from birth to go to the age of 18 to go to some big white university and go $200,000 in debt to get a college degree so you can go and work for another white person, right? That right there, it probably takes a few $1 trillion in Black wealth out of the community. Number two, you're trained by rappers and TV to go and spend money on a lot of worthless consumer items that don't add any value to your life. Like rappers love to market to you about Gucci and all this other stuff. Number three, you're not teaching your kids to go and start businesses and to build wealth and to make investments. We're training our kids to go work for white people, which limits your income and limits your opportunities, and also stresses the hell out of you, drives you crazy. Like racism literally kills you. And then next, you can talk about culture. The culture of showing off what you have is stronger than the culture of talking about what you're going to own. Ownership culture is still evolving. It's not where it needs to be. Communities that are obsessed with ownership, that really want to own property, that really want to own assets, that really want to buy stuff and keep it, communities like that tend to do very well financially, right? It's just like that bucket. The bucket that's going to have the most water is the one that has no leaks in it, the one that isn't giving any water away and is taking in all the water that it possibly can. So just think about Black wealth, and the reason Black wealth is going negative to zero and beyond by 2053 is because you've got a tiny hole where the water is going in and a giant hole where the water is going out. And the number one thing I'm going to say, just keeping it raw with you guys, is you got to stop learning about economics from white people. You got to stop learning about economics from white people, not because white people are all trying to be terrible. I'm not a person that sits around and complains about how racist white people are. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that, you Black people learning economics from their oppressor is like my daughter getting sex education from her boyfriend, right? I would not want my daughter to learn about sex from her boyfriend because he's not really going to teach her the stuff that's really going to work in her interest. He's going to teach her stuff that he wants to do. He's going to teach her about the WAP. He's going to teach her the Cardi B model of what it means to be a strong Black woman. He's not going to teach her the model that really has her interest first. You see, so for Black people, because we're educated and trained by people who don't have our best interests at heart, it's almost seen radical and crazy when we say Black people should be put first. The reason that's seen as radical is because people aren't used to that. People are used to Black people being put last, right? So ultimately, when your oppressor is teaching you economics, they're going to teach you how they can oppress you. They're going to teach you they're going to say, okay, girl, you sit still and open your mouth, right? Like, seriously, I know that sounds a little graphic. I don't want to be nasty. I'm not trying to be too raunchy today, but you get the point. We all grown up in here. And I think that that's a good analogy to help you understand the sheer hilarity of letting your oppressor educate your kids. Because basically they've got a whole system in place, a very elaborate system that leads to the economic empowerment of white people, particularly not just all white people, though, rich white people in particular, right? The people on the top, the people who own the real estate, who own the stocks and bonds, who own the businesses, right? So the people who own the businesses are like, we need employees. So you want us to educate you on economics? We're going to send you to college to train you how to be an employee, to be a good employee so you can be a good worker. The kids at Harvard and Yale are learning how to run the businesses. The kids at Iowa State University are learning how to come work for the people who went to Harvard and Yale. I'm a stock market investor. Okay, in order for my stocks to go up in value, I need my companies to make a lot of money. Well, my companies make a lot of money when we sell a lot of consumer items. So I'm not going to really necessarily go out of the way to train you on how to own the stock or how to own the company or how to save your money. I'm going to train you on how to buy things, right? Consumer spending is the number one driver of the economy. And we go into debt so that we can maintain a high level of consumer spending because we become addicted to consumer spending the same way a crackhead gets addicted to the pipe, right? So we love to spend money because we're trained to spend money. Is that all they want you to do? It's not a surprise that they don't teach financial literacy in high school. They could easily fix that. They could easily teach people to save more money. But why would they want them to save? Because you would be holding your money. You're not giving it up. They want you to give it up. They want you to be economic hoes. They want you passing out that WAP, right? They don't want those wet ass profits. They want those wet ass profits. They want you giving it up. They don't want you to hold it back, right? So they're going to train you to be a consumer because that guy at the top, those people at the top who are the investors, are making money when you are consuming products. You go buy a pair of Jordans. I own the Nike stock. You're getting shoes. I'm getting money, right? That's how it works. What else? If you are a landlord, again, these are the people at the top. So landlords, the Donald Trumps, the people that own property. Well, they don't really want everybody trying to be a landlord. They don't want everybody trying to own property. They don't want everybody trying to get rich in real estate. They need some renters. Like, how can I make money on rental property if somebody isn't renting the property that I have? So we want renters. So if you want to be a renter, there's no shame in being a renter, right? We want you to just be a renter so you can just pay me rent forever. Because guess what? When you're paying me rent, I'm taking that rent. I'm taking 80% of it. 20% I get to put in my pocket. The other 80% I'm going to apply to the mortgage. So you as my renter are going to pay the mortgage on my property so that after 20 or 30 years of you paying the mortgage on my property, I will have a ton of cash and a ton of wealth because I'll own the property and I'll get the capital gains that come from the growth and the appreciation in the value of the property. You get nothing. You don't even get a thank you at the end of the day. Right. And I'm just laying this game out for you very simply because that's how America works. Right. So, I am very willing to say that I participate in some of that process. I own rental property and I'm really astonished. I'm like, well, I guess if people need to rent property, then why don't we buy some and, make it available? So we got a property down in downtown Chicago, right near the University of Chicago. The mortgage was, I don't know, maybe $1,100 a month or something. And but the rent, I was like, so what's the rent? We asked the property manager. She said, oh, you can get $1,700 a month for this. I was like, wow, that's more than the mortgage. So I was like, well, don't overcharge them. Like, just charge them like something that's fair. So I didn't charge as much as we could have charged because I was like, well, but as long as it's covering the mortgage, that's good. So all we have to do is sit there and be happy landlords. And after so many years, we'll own this property outright, be able to sell it. And here's another crazy thing. This is just me telling you the truth in terms of what the experience actually is. When we bought this property, it wasn't an expensive place, but it wasn't cheap. It was like maybe $110. The lady called about maybe a month in, right in the middle of COVID now, right in COVID, when everything's kind of going to hell. And she says, oh, you can sell this. The Asians, they buy up units all through this building. And you know that you could actually sell this for a $40,000 profit right now if you wanted to. And I was like, what? I was like, we haven't even owned it that long. We only had it for 3 weeks. And she's like, yeah, they would love to have it. And they would buy it all cash from you for a $40,000 profit now. And I was like, no, if it went up $40,000 in 3 weeks, then let me just hold that sucker for about 5 or 10 years and really turn it into some real money. Right. So I think at the end of the day, I think that we want to change the thinking, right? So change the culture in your house. Don't wait for America to get on board with Black empowerment. It ain't gonna happen. Don't even wait for Black people to get on board with Black empowerment. A lot of Black people ain't trying to hear that Black empowerment talk. They're still learning how to be Black and not be scared to be Black. Like seriously, they're just now waking up. Like a lot of the woke folks, like we've been talking this woke stuff for a long time. If you go back and read articles I wrote in the 1990s, I was saying things that seemed radical at the time. They're not radical now. So they're catching up. They're just now waking up and kind of gaining awareness. They're like babies of Blackness. A lot of you have been Black for a very long time. And I encourage you to be as Black as you can be. The downside of that, though, the downside of being blickety Black, like Black first and just, really as a common sense factor, believing that Blackness is important and powerful. The downside is that you're probably ahead of your time, right? Like most of your allies, I figured this out because I used to be so mad. I'd be like, man, why don't these people get it? Why is everybody trying to be mad at me? Why am I losing friends because of some of the stuff I'm saying? And I realized that most of my allies are not even born yet. Like the people who are really going to get me the most are people that are going to be born in the year, 2040 or something, right? So it's okay to be ahead of your time. You just get the burden of kind of pushing the envelope a little bit. And I just want to be here to encourage you that you're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with really loving yourself. There's nothing wrong with putting your people first. That's what everybody else does. There's nothing wrong with wanting your family to have prosperity as opposed to victimhood. Right? There's nothing wrong with you saying, I'm black. I don't want to be a minority anymore. I don't want to be a person of color. I don't want to fit your diversity checkbox. I'm black. Like that's what I am. Right? Black first, 100%. That's what I believe. And I'm sticking with it. I ain't changing that at all. All right. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button, share and subscribe button. And the URL for the Powernomics Masterclass is powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. Now, Kanye, thank you for your donation. Kanye Northwest, which is that's a funny name. He says, why do people lie about voting for third-party candidates? A vote for a candidate you want to win is not a vote for somebody else. Why do they lie about voting for third-party candidates? I don't know what you mean by lying. A vote for the candidate you want to win is not a vote for somebody else. No, it's not. It's a vote for the candidate that you want to win. And to your point, one thing that I always thought was really strange was when people would say, voting for or not voting for Biden is a vote for Trump. And I was like, well, that's only true if you assume that my vote belonged to Joe Biden, that I took something away from him. Like some people do that when they claim ownership over you. They almost feel like if you don't give them what they feel entitled to, this is that entitlement, that white entitlement sometimes. If you don't give them what they feel entitled to, they feel like you're taking something from them. That's where the angry white male comes from. The angry white male, in many cases, is a guy who says, wait, I'm supposed to inherit the earth. The earth is mine. So when you don't give me the earth, then you've taken something away from me, when really my argument is you never had it in the first place. It was never yours in the first place. So if you want my 2 cents, I believe that Joe Biden and Donald Trump are pretty entitled white males. That's just what I've always seen, in their lives. And I don't think about them enough to really hate either one of them. I just think it's important to tell the truth about all of this. Dr. Watkins, can we still get 48% off for Powernomics? No. That deal, it was done. We had to shut that down, but you can get 30% off. So if you go to powernomicsmasterclass.com, you can use the code word podcast. So for the next couple of days, this code will work until tomorrow night at midnight. So you can go to powernomicsmasterclass.com, use the code word podcast, so you can get 30% off. So that's pretty good. Happy Motivation Monday. Absolutely. Happy Indigenous People Day for sure. To hell with Christopher Columbus. Absolutely. I'm really kind of stunned that holiday is still on the books, that people even talk about that. That's kind of crazy to me. Dr. Watkins, what financial advice would you give to a 21-year-old? Spend a lot of time learning how to start businesses, even if you don't know how to do it. Just listen to podcasts on starting businesses, maybe join a group. Just have conversations about entrepreneurship, not because you need to be an entrepreneur, but because you want to have that skill. Because one day you're going to go to work. If you take a job and you're working for, the dominant culture, let's call that. I'm going to say white people because I don't like sitting around complaining about white people. I don't think that gets us anywhere. But if you're working for people from another culture, there might become a day where you're just going to want to tell your boss to kiss your black ass. And you want to be able to walk out that door with your head held up high, knowing that you are going to be okay. Well, how do you do that? Well, the way you do that, this is called the kiss your ass policy, or the kiss your ass strategy, right? Or you got to have a lot of that FU money. If you ain't got the FU money, then you're going to have to bow down. Every time the situation calls for you to stand up, you're going to have to sit right back down. So the FU money strategy says this: if I want to be free, if I want to really have options, which is similar to freedom, then what do? Well, number one, you got to save money. You got to save and invest. Right? Because you're stacking up your war chest in case you have to go to battle. In America, in this world, most battles are economic. So you stack your war chest. So in case you got to go to war with oppression or go to war with white supremacy, you want to have a war chest to back you so they can't shut you down economically. When Bill O'Reilly got mad at me because I called him out for joking about lynching Michelle Obama, the first thing he did, which was a very intelligent strategy. First thing he and Fox News did was they basically pressured Syracuse. They didn't come to me. They went to Syracuse because they said, we want to get him fired from his job. and that'll make him shut down. The only thing that saved me was that I had investments and I had other streams of income. So you want to have your investments locked down. So you start investing stock on a regular basis, Ashley, every week. I don't care how much money you make. Even if you're making $10 a week, you take 10% of that $10 and you tithe it to your future, like you're tithing to Jesus, like white Jesus, black Jesus, baby Jesus, or no Jesus. I don't care who you're tithing to, but you got to tithe to your future self. So you're you're investing every week in the stock market. And then number two, you're learning. You're just learning. Maybe you don't have money to make moves, but you're learning so that if you fill your head up with knowledge, knowledge is damn near free. Like knowledge is not expensive to obtain. So you fill your head up with knowledge so that when the opportunity presents itself, you can make a move. There are lots of people out here who have $1 million opportunities that will literally get in their face and then, hey, $1 million over here, right? Seriously, like right in their face, and they can't even see it because they don't even have the skill to identify opportunities or to take advantage of them. Seriously. So the more knowledge you have, the more you can see an opportunity when it emerges. One day you may have a friend who says, hey, my dad gave me an extra $200,000 when he died, and I'm looking to find a business to invest in. Well, if you've always had this dream, excuse me, of opening a little bakery and all you need is $5,000 to get off the ground, you can say, oh, great, give me $5,000 and I'll give you 20% ownership in the bakery and we can go into business together. Next thing you know, you're making $100,000 a month, which is, a whole lot more money than you'll ever make on a job. I'm telling you, being a Black entrepreneur, somebody please testify in the chat if you agree with me. Being a Black entrepreneur to me is the most exciting, most liberating, most fulfilling thing in the world when it's going well. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt. Sometimes you got the ups and downs, but everything's going to be stressful. Going to work for white people every day was really stressful, right? So either way, you're going to have your tough days, but the good days are just so wonderful. Like I didn't have a lot of good days when I was working with white people every day. It wasn't that I hated them. It was just I got tired I was always on pins and needles. I was always worried about the other shoe dropping, always dealing with stuff that I didn't feel like I deserved to have to deal with. Whereas being free as an entrepreneur, I can't explain the joy that I get every day, waking up, doing something I love around the people I want to be with, and knowing that I can shape my own future just by coming up with good ideas, finding a better way to do things. It is so fulfilling. I really encourage you to at least look into it. Don't write it off before you even try it. Seriously, I can't stand that Negro naysayer mentality. The Negro naysayers are the people that find a problem with every solution. Like they're almost offended by Black empowerment. Like when you tell them that you don't have to be a victim, like they're mad at you, like you stole something from them when you took away their victimhood. That I feel bad for those people because their potential is so limited. Like they don't need an oppressor because they've done a good job of oppressing themselves. The best way to oppress yourself is to not dream big. If you always have tiny little dreams and you achieve tiny little goals because you're scared to try, then the white man ain't got to do his job because you're doing it for him. So let's not do that. Let's not oppress ourselves. Go for it. Like give your kids confidence. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. All right. Let me see here. All right. So let's see. Feel free to throw some questions in here. I'm going to be quiet for a minute. I've been talking so much. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button, share and subscribe button. And don't forget that show that I mentioned, Life's a Pitch, where we're doing the Black Business Pitch Competition every Monday night at 8 o'clock. It's on the Black Financial Channel, theblackfinancialchannel.com. So subscribe to the blackfinancialchannel.com. We have a Black Financial Channel Instagram. So also go to follow the Black Financial Channel on Instagram. Every day, I'm always talking financial stuff every single day. So I think that this is a great way for you to get exposure to Black businesses and what's going on in the financial world. So how do you structure taxes with investing? You know what, Dirty Worm? What I would do is make sure you get a good accountant so your accountant can kind of work through that for you. I'm not an accountant. You need one. And you want somebody that's going to make sure that you're good, IRS wise and stuff like that. I want the old voice back. You don't like the new voice? I like the new voice. What are you talking about? What do you mean? When am I coming to Philly? Probably some point soon. I love Philly. It's one of my favorite places. What time do I come on live? Just any time. It could be any time of the day. But I do know one time I've nailed down, like I said, Monday night at 8 o'clock on the blackfinancialchannel.com. Lene Javette and I will be live with the business pitch competition every Monday at 8 o'clock on the blackfinancialchannel.com. If you want to be considered for the pitch competition, you want to pitch your business. And I think it's great. It's a great way to get exposure for your business, to get feedback on your business. It'll make you better in terms of presenting your business to people that might want to be investors or clients or whatever. If you'd like to be on the list or you'd like to be considered, get on the email list. The email list, you can get on it at allblackeconomics.com. That's allblackeconomics.com. And on that page, you'll also get a free copy of my book. It's called It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. That's the name of the book. You lost a lot of weight and looking good. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep trying to lose weight. One thing that happened was when they did the dental work, they did tell me this. They said your face is going to change its shape a little bit because when your teeth are not where they're supposed to be or doing what they're supposed to do, it can make your face kind of weird. And so now my face is like thinning out and I'm getting like Alicia was like, you look different now. And I do and I will. And that's what it is. So that's what's going on. What do you think about Forex? I think Forex is fine. I don't dislike the market. I think it's cool, but it's not as easy to make consistent money in Forex as it is in the stock market, just based on the theory. The Forex market is what they call a zero-sum game, where, when you make money, somebody else is losing money, right? Somebody else is on the other side of that trade, whereas the stock market is a place where a lot of people can make money if they all do the same thing because the economy is always growing, right? So now if the economy were shrinking, it might be a different conversation, but it's not. Well, right now, actually, during COVID, it's shrinking. And in that situation, what I really see is one where it's a matter of kind of picking your spots, right? Picking the industries that are going to benefit during COVID. No matter what the economic conditions are, you could be talking about the Great Depression. There's always some part of the economy that's benefiting. There's always somebody who's getting rich during the worst economic disaster in American history. In fact, actually, during COVID, you know who's winning big time economically and politically during COVID? There's a lot of people winning, but one of the biggest winners is China. China. If you follow global affairs, you will see that the Chinese, they kind of dealt with COVID like gangsters. Like first of all, I'm sorry, but I don't get offended when people say, "Oh, it's the Chinese virus." I'm like, yeah, because it came out of China. The Chinese, it came out of a Wuhan lab or something, and they say it came out of that market, but there's a lot of evidence that it didn't. I don't really care exactly where it came from. I'm just paying attention to the dynamics. So this virus comes out, it conveniently shuts down the global economy completely. Like the lights go out, and when the lights go out, imagine a bunch of people in a room and suddenly the lights go out. And let's say somebody knows that the lights are about to go out and he wants to pickpocket everybody while the lights are out. During the middle of the confusion, when everybody's screaming and hollering and trying to figure out how to turn the lights back on, he's reaching in everybody's pocket. That's kind of how China operates. Because if you recall, China, if you ask China, even 2-3 months ago, hey, that virus that's ravaging the rest of the world, it started in your country. And, it's you were the epicenter of this virus. So clearly you must be struggling with this virus. They were like, no, nothing to see here. We completely contained it. We completely controlled it. We have no new cases. We had 12 new cases last week. We have 1.2 billion people, 12 new cases, right? We know that they're lying, right? They're just lying. Like in China, they're like, no, nothing to see here. Like none of your damn business. Like we're not telling everybody. The China's like my grandma used to be. Like my grandma, one time we had a mouse in the house, and I went to the basketball court and I said, yeah, man, we had a mouse in our house. And my grandma was ready. She's ready to knock my teeth out. She was like, don't you ever go tell nobody nothing about what's going on in this house. You better not even tell them what we have for dinner. So my grandma would have been a good president of China. Xi Jinping, like my grandma could have been Xi Jinping. Right. So anyway, so the Chinese, they just were like, we're handling this internally. We got it under control. We're not going to give you accurate data because we don't want you to know our business. And they just kept going. And I believe that what they just said is they said, yeah, we're going to lose a couple 100,000 people, but we got 1.2 billion people to feed, right? Which is a big number. So we lose 0.1, like 1/100th of 1% of our population, but the other 99.99% of our people are going to be fine. Right. That's how China kind of thinks, because they think in a very collective fashion. They believe the group is more important than the individual. I taught a finance class in China, And I remember the students, I asked them, I said, how come you guys don't really talk in class? And they said, because when we were kids, we were told that you sit down, you shut up, you listen to the teacher, that the group is more important than you, that getting all the attention on yourself is a bad thing, that the fattest pig always gets slaughtered. That's what my students in China told me. So I learned a lot about Chinese culture. They're very powernomics oriented. They're very, very group oriented. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. It's a good thing for group power. It's a bad thing for democracy, right? The Chinese are very bad at democracy. That leads me to Hong Kong. So China has this problem child called Hong Kong. Hong Kong was under British rule for 99 years. Then suddenly they handed, Hong Kong over to mainland China. Well, the Hong Kong people are like, we don't want to be under Chinese rule. We want democracy. We want freedom. So if you go back a year ago, remember LeBron James got in trouble for this. LeBron James got in trouble for not challenging the Chinese government. Remember that? Anybody remember that? Where everybody was mad at him because LeBron was like, well, Chinese, they're going to do what they're going to do, because they're making money. The NBA is making insane money in China. When I was in China and I would go to the cafeteria, I remember all the boys, every single boy in that school was watching the NBA finals every day on it was back in the Kobe Bryant days, and they were all watching Kobe in the NBA finals, all the boys. Like and then I asked them, and it's funny because in China, they're terrible basketball players. Like I went to the basketball court and I felt like Michael Jordan. Like I'm a brother. I've been playing ball since my whole life. So I was able to do stuff and get rebounds, and they didn't even know how to box out. Their defense was terrible. They couldn't dribble, but they love basketball for some weird reason. I asked one of my students, I said, it seems like all the boys love basketball. And he said, yes, in China, all boys play basketball. All my friends play basketball. So they love basketball. So the NBA is growing in China. A lot of money's being made over there. That's why LeBron was like, I ain't got nothing to say about that. Well, in Hong Kong, they had massive protests. Millions of people in the street. The Chinese cannot gain control of Hong Kong under any circumstances. So the virus conveniently comes along, and then for their safety, they start passing laws. They start passing draconian laws that basically say, if you gather in groups of more than 2, we're going to have to arrest you for your safety, because we want to have a civil China, and in you gathering in groups is dangerous. So we want to keep you safe, right? Even though Hong Kong didn't have that many corona cases, but that was their opportunity to pass the law. Now in Hong Kong, you can't do nothing. Those protests are dead. Go read up on it. Go read if you're a reader, if you like to read The Economist or Wall Street Journal, read about what's going on in Hong Kong. They are locking up the biggest activists in all of Hong Kong right now. And in China, when they lock you up, they don't play. They will kidnap you in the middle of the night, not tell your family where you're going, and people will just think you're dead. They'll wonder if you're dead. They did this. They went to the most famous actress in all of China. She was basically involved in a tax evasion kind of thing where they weren't reporting how much money they were making. So imagine a big superstar like an Oprah Winfrey level type star. She just disappeared. Like they literally just went and got her in the middle of the night. They didn't tell nobody nothing because they didn't have to answer to anybody. And she was gone, and nobody knew where she was. She wasn't showing up on movie sets or anything. And then about 3 months later, she reappears, and suddenly, and on social media, she writes this really long, contrite statement like, I am so sorry. I have disgraced my family. And they charged her with a $100 million fine. And that's how China kind of gets down. So China is a country, in my opinion, that has made some really heavy political and economic moves during the pandemic. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just going to say that's kind of what you're seeing. That's why you're seeing a difference in the wealth gap right now, because other people that made really gangster moves during the pandemic, Jeff Bezos with Amazon. Jeff Bezos was like, yeah, a few of our people are going to get sick, but we got 1 million employees. Most of them are going to be fine. 99.9% of them are going to be just fine. So I think they had maybe 20,000 cases, which is bad. I think maybe 1 death or something like that. But they had over 1 million employees who survived, and Amazon stock shot through the roof during the pandemic. Elon Musk, same guy. Elon was like, no, we're not shutting down our factories. So it's not to say, that there's one way to skin that cat or one way to handle anything. It's to kind of say that there's trade-offs. There's just trade-offs. That's all it is, right? There's trade-offs. Some people, it's like going to war, right? Like if you ask Alicia would never send any of our children to war because she's like, I don't care what the cause is. I'm not giving up my kids for anybody's military cause. But then there are some families who say, if the cause is important enough, you should go to war. Like I would go to war if I was fighting for black people, right? I'd be willing to go out here and possibly take a bullet or whatever, right? So in a way, it's kind of like that when it comes to economics and politics and everything. Like all of this really is warfare at the end of the day. Now, what's the stock? The stock is Workhorse. I was talking about Workhorse earlier. Workhorse is a company out of Ohio that makes electric trucks or something like that, among other things. And their stock has been going really, really high. It's been taking off and doing really, really well. The thing about it is that this week you're going to have a really big moment for Workhorse. I'm really curious to see how it plays out. I'd be stunned if the stock doesn't make significant moves either up or down. It was already doing that over the weekend. If you follow the stock, you'll notice the company was shooting, like it just kept going higher and higher and higher. And I didn't mind it, because I invested in it, whatever. But the thing about it is it could actually plummet. Like if it doesn't get this deal with the U.S. Postal Service, this $8 billion contract, or at least a piece of it, I'm really curious about how that's going to affect the stock price. The ticker symbol is WKHS. So the company's called Workhorse. So feel free to take a look at it. I'm not telling you to invest in it. A lot of the growth has occurred, though. I mean, the company was trading at like $2 or $3 a share. I wish I'd bought back then, but I jumped in maybe about 14 or 15, and then it just kept going up 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and now it's almost at 29 or 30. And it had some more big moves over the weekend, and I think it's because the market is pricing in the fact that they believe that Workhorse is going to get that Postal Service contract. So here's the problem. In a way, you're living on a bubble. The price is built on a hope and a prayer or an expectation, and expectations can always be shattered, right? High hopes can be killed. Dreams can be killed, right? So if the USPS comes in with a dose of reality that says, there is no contract going to Workhorse, then there's no amount of drop in the stock price that would shock me. I mean, I've seen stocks drop from 28 to, $4 a share. Right. So if you want to know how I plan for that, I went ahead and I protected some of my gains by buying some put options. And also, I'm not real greedy when it comes to investing. I like to actually write call options because I like to generate income off my portfolio. If you want to learn more about that type of stuff or options in general, we have a great options class. So feel free to go to blackoptionsinvesting.com. That's blackoptionsinvesting.com. The first month is actually $1. So feel free to give it a try. And there's a money back guarantee on everything we do in the Black Business School. So if you're not happy for any reason, don't get mad. Don't feel like we're going to take your money. We don't want your money if you're not really, really happy. We just want you to give us a chance. We are better than any university that's out here. I've taught at a bunch of them. I know what they teach. I know what they do. We're really, really good at what we do. So feel free to go take a look. You can go to blackoptionsinvesting.com. What do I think about new upstart investing? I think that if you invest in upstarts, you got to be really careful. You got to make sure that you do your homework. Remember that when you invest with somebody, it's really like sleeping with them. If you're going to go sleep with somebody, and you don't know them very well, you're really putting their life in, your life in their hands. I mean, not to put a wet blanket on y'all, because I know some of y'all might be freaks, and it's okay. I ain't judging. But I'm just telling you, when you think about it, when you lay down with somebody, they could give you a disease, they could rape you, they could go and falsely accuse you of rape, they could get pregnant or get you pregnant, right, and give you 18 years of hell with a horrible co-parent, right? So maybe some would say that before you make that investment, which is more important than money, you're investing your spiritual and physical health in another person, in your life in another person. Maybe a little research might be a good idea. But I'm not trying to be holier than thou or judging, because the decision of who you sleep with is a very irrational process. It's a lot like consumer spending. A lot of spending that companies want you to do, they want you to do unconscious spending. They don't want you to be analytical. They don't want you to think critically, or even voting. They're not trying to get you to logically and critically think about the voting process. They want you to go just get your booty to the polls. So they want you to vote because everybody else is doing it, or they want you to vote because they got you all emotionally riled up, right? I'm not dissing. I'm not telling you that you should vote. If you go vote, like whatever you're going to do, just go do it and come back so we can really talk about what Black people need, right? Because I'm not convinced that's the solution. But the point of the matter is to say that, I think the same thing is true with almost any investment you make. So if you're investing in somebody's business, I would be really careful about engaging in what I almost consider to be economic lovemaking where you have a love fest with somebody and y'all hit it off and you have a great conversation and all these great ideas come out and you're both excited about these ideas. And you say, oh my God, we should go into business together. Yeah, let's do that. Right. And then you form an LLC, a partnership with somebody, or you put money into somebody's business. And you don't even know what it's like to work with this person. You may know that person, but you don't know what it's like to work with them. I mean, having a bad business partner is really a lot like having a bad spouse. You know, like it sucks to be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't want to try, or somebody who wants to cheat on you, or somebody who's lying to you every other day, or who doesn't halfway show up to put in any type of effort to make the relationship work, who doesn't know how to resolve disputes, right? Who doesn't have any skill, right? Skill in the bedroom, skill when it comes to conversation, skill when it comes to just socialization. Like you're bringing your colleagues into, to your house for dinner, and you got some ghetto dude who's embarrassing the hell out of you, and you're trying to become, a high level manager at the company, and he's embarrassing you. There was a lady I knew one time in a neighborhood I lived in who was like a corporate-y type of lady, and she was like, real professional and everything. And for some reason, she fell in love with this dude who was kind of a little bit of a thug. He was a little bit of a thug. No disrespect to the thugs out there, right? I love y'all too, but it wasn't a fit. It was like a little bit like The Odd Couple. But I think she liked it. She liked that thuggish thing. And I guess she thought she was going to shape him up and make him a corporate thug or whatever. So he gets out of jail. She moves him into her house in the suburbs, right? So, so let me tell you what happened. This is actually kind of funny. So one of her neighbors sends her like a Christmas card, and the Christmas card is like a friendly little like, hey, Merry Christmas, and it has a picture of their family, and the man of the house who sent the card, his name is on there, right? Like, let's say his name was Joe Smith. It was like the Joe Smith and family want to wish you a Merry Christmas. So one day, a muscle-bound dude and a wife beater shows up in the middle of the day now, like 2:00 in the afternoon, because he wasn't at work or nothing. He comes to the door. He's like, boom, boom, boom. And so he answers the door, and he's like, and the guy's like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, what the fuck is what? Well, why are you sending shit like this to my wife? So he was like, man, hey, bro, it's a Christmas card, man. I promise you, I'm not. Well, keep your Christmas cards to yourself, homie. And so he throws the card in his face, right? So basically, I know that was a little bit of a tangent, but that's kind of what it's like. I think not just to choose the wrong partner in life, but also in business too. You gotta vet people that you let into your financial world. Like if you're investing in somebody and investing with somebody, it's really like going to war with that person. It's like you're LeBron, you're trying to win a championship. You maybe you want to think carefully about what teammates you want on your team. Think about it. When LeBron had the right teammates, he became an NBA champion. A year ago, when he had the wrong teammates, he couldn't even get to the playoffs. So think about this, right? LeBron's still the same guy. He's always been LeBron. He was probably better last year than he is this year because he's a year older, right? So how is it that with one set of teammates, he's a champion, another set of teammates, they're one of the worst teams in the league? Well, that comes down to vetting and making sure that the people you choose as teammates in your life, your romantic partners, your business partners, just your friends and associates, are people that are going to make you better. You want people around you that understand what it takes to win championships, right? Like New Edition said, tell me, baby, can you stand rain, right? I personally, when I work with people in a romantic relationship, when I chose to be with Alicia, when I choose people that I want in my circle that I will go to battle with, my question always is, can you stand the rain? Because if you can't stand the rain, then I'm not trying to go out here and get wet with you, because I'm gonna be out here getting wet by myself, right? So if Alicia, like Alicia is a professional Black woman, she has a PhD and she's very esteemed and successful in what she does. Well, let me tell you about the other side of her. She's very, very, very determined. She's the one who pushed me to run an entire marathon. If you've ever run a marathon, running a marathon is absolute hell. Like if you ever want to know what hell feels like, imagine running 13 miles to the point where you feel like you can barely move, and they're like, "Oh, you only got 13 miles to go." Like that was terrible. It takes a level of commitment to be able to go that far, and you have to be next to somebody who can push you through the things you can't push yourself through. Getting our PhDs was like pure hell. She dealt with crazy white people who did not want her to graduate. Every black student she started her program with did not finish. She was the only one who made it because she basically said, well, we're going to have to do this. We're going to have to just go to war, right? And I like that, right? I like the idea of knowing that I'm standing next to a woman who's not a goddamn powder puff, who's going to be able to go through the hell that a black man goes through and isn't going to buckle at the first sign that things are tough. Don't think that I didn't have women that I met that were beautiful and friendly and appealing, but some people ain't built like that, right? Some people are not built like that. So if you're trying to do something special, significant in your life, find the right teammates that can sit next to you that will really, really go to hell and back with you. That's why I love the Nation of Islam, because they build a better black man. They build a better black woman. They build quality people that are really going to go in the trenches with you, that'll put it on the line with you and don't have any fear, who will resolve conflicts with you, who will fight to preserve the relationship, who will do everything necessary to try to keep things going. That's why I have an enormous amount of respect for the Nation of Islam. That's what I call being on code. All right. So anyway, let me read some of your comments. I see. Let's see here. Per Se Luxury says, use the code word Boyce for your free bling backpack. All right. So you can go to Per Se Luxury. Oh, that's a great, smart way to get some good low cost advertising. So did you put your URL in here, or should I just say Per Se Luxury? Per Se Luxury. I'm saying it over and over again so everybody will hear about your company, so you get that free advertising. Per Se Luxury. Use the code word Boyce and you get a free bling backpack. Well, I kind of want one of those for the kids. Exclusive. I don't think I'll look good with bling though. I'm not a jewelry guy. Banderdash exclusive.tv, and they spell exclusive with an X, just X exclusive, is where content creators get paid. Watched you for years. Great information. We're a black-owned business. Okay, Banderdash. All right, exclusive.tv. So everybody go support exclusive.tv. Exclusive with an X. Not, it doesn't start with an E. It starts with an X. Okay, guys. In New Teeth or Invisalign, it's dental work, new teeth kind of thing going on. So yeah, that's why I'm talking a little bit funny. So don't make too much fun of me. It'll hurt my feelings. All right, guys, let me see. I'm gonna answer a few more questions. Can we expect another 10% drop in the Dow this year? I don't know. I don't see anything. If it happens, it's going to be unexpected. I see optimism. I see everybody wants the market to do well. The market is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I believe that investors are looking for any excuse to bid up the prices of stocks. I believe that all the new equity investors from Robinhood are going to be a net plus for the market. And additional stock market participation is a good thing for the world. I wish more black people would invest. I'm imploring you to invest, because the number one factor in the wealth gap is stock market participation. That's why they're running away from a lot of us, is because they're invested in the stock market. It's very hard to become wealthy without investing in the stock market. Really, really difficult. Because even if you have money, it's not going to grow. And with inflation and all that, you want your money to grow. But anyway, also the vaccine. The vaccine is the game changer. The election is going to make a difference, but both parties are going to boost the market. Both parties are pretty pro-corporate. There's no such thing really as, like, I know people say, oh, Biden's going to bring in socialism and all that. That's not true. They're not socialists. They're into like LGBT and stuff that I'm not really interested in. But they're not socialists. They're corporatists. They're all corporatists. So all of them are going to take care of corporate America, which is going to boost the market, which is why I believe you want to be invested in the market. The other thought is, the Democrats, if they get a blue sweep, which I don't know if they're going to be able to take the Senate or not, but if they do, you're going to see a massive, gigantic, supersized stimulus package. And that supersized stimulus package is going to be highway robbery for rich people and corporate America. It is going to be yet another opportunity, just like the first stimulus, for all the wealthy people to go in and literally rob the cookie jar. Like, they are going to clean the cabinet bare in the Treasury. And sure, okay, working class people and families will get something, but really a lot of that wealth is going to go to the top. And it's very sad, but that's just what it is. People that understand that system are the ones who get rich off of it. It sucks, but it is what it is. And what that's going to do, though, is that's going to push up the stock market. The market is waiting for a stimulus package. When a stimulus gets passed, it's going to boost the market. Number two, the big game changer is the vaccine. They're going to have a vaccine. And I don't honestly, I'm going to tell you the truth. I think that we could actually live with this virus out there. When I looked at the numbers, the numbers just didn't rattle me. They weren't like Ebola type numbers or even swine flu numbers. If it was swine flu, I wouldn't leave my house for a year if swine flu was all through the United States. If they ever say swine flu is breaking out, then just know you're gonna be talking to me through the computer screen. I will not even shake none of y'all's hands because I don't want the swine flu. The mortality rate for swine flu is about 60%. You do not mess with swine flu. You do not mess with Ebola. With this, 40% of the deaths were people that were actually in nursing homes. So these are people that probably could have been taken down by the flu. Less than 1% of the deaths were people under the age of 40. Most of the very small percentage of healthy people actually died. So what does that say? Well, that means that we're going to continue to function. The world's going to move forward. China is acting like it doesn't even exist, and they're just moving forward, right? So they're going to move forward, but the vaccine is important because the vaccine is the thing that will make people feel safe. So the thing about risk, and I've studied risk extensively. I used to work under a guy named Renee Stoltz at Ohio State, who's one of the world's leading experts in risk management. He's literally the highest paid person in the entire business school at Ohio State University. I think he makes $500,000 a year. Plus he makes millions of dollars consulting all around the world. He's a very smart man. And I remember helping him edit and proofread one of his textbooks on risk management. The thing about risk is that the risk is interesting in that you have fear of the known, fear of the unknown, and fear of the unknown unknowns. And then you also have fear that becomes real because you believe it's real, even if it's not real. But because you believe it's real, you create self-fulfilling prophecies. You make it real. It's like if I'm afraid of yellow paper, right? There's no reason I should be afraid of yellow paper, right? But imagine if I had yellow paper phobia and yellow paper just scared the hell out of me, right? Well, if yellow paper scared the hell out of me, then what would I be doing? I'd be like, oh my God, right? And maybe I'd start sweating, right? I would go crazy, freak out, knock the microphone off the table. I'd probably go off the air because I'd be freaking out over this yellow paper. All that's real, right? Like my busted computer is real. The sweat from my body, the stress in my body is real, right? So what's happened is I've taken something that is not real and made it real. So a lot of the fear that's infected society, 90% of us are infected with fear. That infection, the antidote or the vaccine for the infection of fear is what is really going to drive the economy. So when the vaccine comes out, here's what's going to occur. People who are really afraid are going to get the vaccine first, and then they're going to start to feel safe. And then the people who are not worried so much about it, if they're given the option to pass, they're just going to pass. They're just going to take their chances and just keep it moving. But what will happen is because of the absence of fear, you're going to see an economic boost. You're going to see the economy get a little bit better. The sun will come out. People will start going shopping. They'll start going to the movies again. And you're going to see the stock market take off. So when they announce the vaccine, that's going to be a very big deal. The vaccine is the ultimate game changer when it comes to economic growth. And most experts are pretty much saying that there's a 90% chance that we will have a vaccine that is functioning and working by early next year, and that we're going to be able to make 1 billion doses of that sucker. And again, so a bunch of white guys are going to get filthy rich. From all of this, but you can get rich too if you're planted in the market right now with some of these recovery stocks. The recovery stocks are things like, the cruise lines. Like I invest in Carnival and the airlines. Like I love American Airlines and Delta, or the casinos, the MGMs and stuff like that. All those stocks, I believe, are going to do extremely well as we get closer to the vaccine. And when the vaccine's finally announced, that'll be a big deal because the market overall is optimistic. One good thing about America, I'm going to say this and I'm going to be done. One good thing about America, despite all the flaws of the country, is that America is a country that just tends to have a lot of economic confidence. Those who, you either have victims, like people who just hate everything about America and think that America, like you're just supposed to say poor and broke and there's no way out of that. Or you have the people that believe America is this land of opportunity. And these are the people that are investing consistently and buying into the market and trading on their Robinhood apps and stuff like that. And that optimism and that confidence creates an upward momentum in economic activity. It just kind of does something to stock prices where for the last 100 years, stocks have gone up. So when I talk about the market and people come to me and I just kind of laugh it off. I don't get mad or anything, but I get challenged sometimes, where people are like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. The dollar's going to collapse. I'm like, yeah, it is, but there's still money to be made. Yeah, the dollar's going to definitely decline because, we have slow GDP growth. We have high inflation, and we also have What's the other one? The debt. The national debt is ridiculous, right? So yeah, the dollar's going to decline, but the world's not going to come to an end. The dollar's always been declining. It's always been losing value, right? Or the market's going to crash and everything terrible is going to happen. Yes, it's going to crash. It always crashes and then it recovers. And there's no point in American history where the market has crashed and it did not recover, right? So everybody who's sort of using fear to keep you where you are, those people are not your friends. Those are not your friends. And I just encourage you to just look at what's around you and just realize that there are solutions, but you got to be okay thinking outside the box. If you can't think outside the box, then, you'll be in the box. All right. So anyway, I'm going to go, guys. I got to go upstairs and spend time with Alicia. We've been watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So I watched 4 seasons of it. I wanted to get closer to her, and I noticed she loves Star Trek. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get closer to her by watching Star Trek. And guess what? Now I like it. Now I'm a Trekkie. So anyway, you guys have a good night. It was fun. It was real. Thank you for listening. Please hit that thumbs up button if you could before you go. That'll help in the algorithm. Also, Powernomics Masterclass starts on the 15th with Dr. Claude Anderson. That is powernomicsmasterclass.com. The code word you can use to get 30% off is podcast. Use the code word podcast, and you can get 30% off at powernomicsmasterclass.com. And also, am I involved in any marijuana stocks? Yeah, there's one I just bought. I don't remember what it's called. Oh, man. Hold on. Oh, God. I have a couple of cannabis stocks, and I just dug into one of them, and I can't remember the name of it. I'll do another video. I can't remember, but it's doing really well because my one of my financial managers hit me up today actually and told me that one of my cannabis stocks went up 20% or something. Yeah, that's another thing. If the Democrats get elected, they're probably going to decriminalize and maybe even legalize marijuana. That's going to be big for cannabis stocks. So yeah, I wish I could find that. God damn it. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. Maybe Canopy Growth. That's one of them. So there you go. Canopy Growth. All right, and if you want to know more of the stocks I'm picking, I actually give my students a big list every couple of days. So feel free to go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com. The first month is $1. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. You can see everything I'm picking. There's a private blog where students can ask questions, and also there's a whole curriculum of a bunch of stuff. You'll know everything there is to know about the market. Just sit and listen to me for a while, and I'll make sure you're better than 95% of all people when it comes to understanding the market. Because that's the benefit of having a PhD in this stuff. I'm not just a stockbroker. I'm not just a guy who made a little money in the market. I'm a person who had to spend 12 years incessantly studying high-level mathematical theory behind how the market works, so I can literally take any situation you describe to me and translate it to financial terms. You have no idea how weird that makes you, and what a different level it takes you to in terms of understanding. And then I became a professor and spent another 20 years writing research papers. So that's why my teaching is a little bit different. And that's why I'm so adamant about the importance of solving the wealth problem as our key to liberation as Black people. If we solve that problem, if you solve that in your family, that's going to kill 80-90% of the problems you would have that come from being Black in America. That's just what I believe, and I'll stick to that till the day I die. So take care, guys. Have a good day. Love you. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.